The Money Thermostat, Chapter 9, The Day We Realize That It Was Never Really About Money.
So this is now chapter 9. So we're doing well. Again, the chapters are short, but by the time you get to the end of the book, I think you're going to agree, especially if you do what I've suggested you do at the start of the book, because again, chapter 1 doesn't even start till about 130, 140. I'm not sure a page count yet because I'm still working on the book, but if you do what I suggest, because it took me a lot of thinking and try and work out how we can make this so it actually gets embedded and you actually live it instead of just being another book and it never does anything for you. If you actually do that, then I feel that even though the chapters are short, they're going to have a profound effect on your life. And like, if you think about, even if it has a little effect on your life, then how that ripples out on people you know, on your family and your friends, and then maybe they're a little bit happier or a little bit, nicer, and then they're a bit nicer or happier to you, and then you're a bit nicer or happier to them, and it's a self-fulfilling thing, and we have a better place. Maybe we have heaven on earth at some point. Anyway, that's enough rambling for that one. So let's go on to chapter 9. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 words on this start of this page. We've got a big heart on there with big arms on it. It's open wide and it's got a smiley face. And it says, "Your softened heart changes every room you enter and every heart you meet." So it's about having a bit of compassion. And as we go, we're going to learn that compassion for ourselves and for others is going to be one of the keys that helps us along the way, along our journey, just to raise our thermostat just 1 degree at a time. And we're also going to learn, especially if you get the book and go through what I said, there's a 20-minute video at the start that I encourage people to watch. And that video, I've watched a lot of stuff, and that's one of my favourites. And that's about, I'm not going to tell you, you just have to get the book, but yeah, that's an interesting one. And once you understand that, you think, okay, I get it. 1 degree does make a massive, huge difference. So let's go on to chapter 9 then. So chapter 9 is the day we realise it was never really about money. What? So this is a money book, and chapter 9, we're at chapter 9 already, and it's saying the day we realise it was never really about money. Interesting. There is a moment, and if it hasn't happened yet, it will. There's something inside of you that quietly goes, not the quiet of giving up, the quiet of seeing clearly. Remember our last song. If you got the book, you could have done the song moment. So seeing clearly, that's a bit of a hint to the song. Because sooner or later, we begin to realise something profound. It was never about money. It was always about what money represents to our nervous system. Money was never the thing. Money was just the symbol. Behind every money struggle, every pattern, every earning or losing, every I can't seem to get ahead story, there's always something much deeper. Money was holding the shape of safety, worth, belonging, identity, acceptance, freedom, love, fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of being too much or not enough. Money itself, and this is a massive one, is neutral. So this page, I think I'm going to read this page again because this page is very, very important. I'm going to start again at the top. So it was always about what money represented to our nervous system. Money was never the thing. Money was the symbol. Behind every money struggle, every pattern of earning or losing, every I can't seem to get ahead story, there was always something much deeper. Money was holding the shape of safety, worth, belonging, identity, acceptance, freedom, love, fear of loss, fear of judgment, fear of being too much or not enough. Money itself is neutral. And there's a little bomb there, so that's like a truth bomb. So our system just reacted to the meaning. The system runs on associations, not numbers. Our mind understands numbers, but our body understands feelings. So if more money felt like pressure, success felt like visibility and judgment. Wealth felt like losing people. Ease felt dangerous. Overflow felt undeserved. Receiving felt like owing somebody. Stability felt foreign. Then, of course, your system held you back, or our system held us back. It wasn't rejecting money, it was rejecting the cost it believed that came along with it. Not real cost, but the emotional cost. You don't fear money, you fear what money might change you. You fear what money might change you into, or might change you. This is the truth behind the truth. You think you have money issues, but what you really have, or what we really have, is fear of loss issues, fear of judgment issues, fear of disappointment issues, fear of responsibility issues, fear of being seen issues, fear of exceeding our family issues, fear of repeating our past issues, fear of succeeding and still feeling empty inside issues. Money is just the stage where these deeper fears are played out. Our thermostat reacts not to the numbers, but to the meaning that the numbers hold. Now, this is the bit where everything begins to soften, because once we see this, once we see what we just talked about, something shifts. Because then we stop blaming ourselves, we stop fighting ourselves, we stop calling ourselves names, we stop trying to fix things that were never broken, we stop thinking, what's wrong with me? And we start thinking, oh, it was never really about money. That it was about safety, it was about belonging, it was about love, it was about identity. That was about wounds no one ever helped us to heal. And suddenly our shoulders drop, your breath softens, compassion replaces confusion, clarity replaces shame. You see your past not as a failure, but as protection. And protection then loses its grip the moment it is understood. When safety rises, money follows. This is the part that almost nobody teaches. You can budget all you want, hustle all you want, manifest all you want, you can visualize all you want, you can learn all you want, you can invest all you want, you can save all you want, and you can strategize all you want. But if your system doesn't feel safe at the next level, then you'll never rise there. Or if you do, you'll go straight back down. And it's not because you're weak, not because you're unmotivated, and not because you're undisciplined. And I can attest to that, because I spent like 35 years doing the work. I was very motivated, I was very disciplined, and I definitely wasn't weak, but I still didn't get anywhere, because survival always overrides success. And we've got a picture of a bear chasing a man there. So once our body learns it's safe to have more, it's safe to receive, it's safe to be seen. This is our body, not our brain, our body. So I don't think anyone's ever taught you that before. So once your body and your nervous system and your body know that it's safe to have more, it's safe to receive, it's safe to be seen, it's safe to hold abundance, our entire financial reality reorganises itself, not from effort, so this is interesting, but from alignment. And then we've got this thing, it says, hello, your system was always on your side. So let's have two songs. So if you've got the book there, we've got two songs there for you. And then after the song moment, we've got, we were never failing, we're never blocked, and we were never broken. We were adaptive, we were loyal to our past, and we were wired to survive, not succeed. And then let's have a look at the next page. Okay, so this bit now is something that I've personally added in. So this is not part of the chapter, but I will read it out, because it is still part of chapter 9, but it's just going off on a little different tangent. But I believe that this could be the most important part of the book. And I believe that if you actually, if you go along with me and then you do what I'm asking, it's not a lot really in a life, it's a little bit of time, but not much really compared to what you may get out of it. So I'm going to read this to you, and I think this is very important for all of us. Before we continue, before we go any further, I want to pause. Not because you're stuck, not because you need more effort, not because you've done anything wrong, but because there's something quite important I want to share with you. Something that doesn't come from me. It something that doesn't come from one culture, doesn't come from one religion, it doesn't come from one philosophy. Something that has been observed, something that's been studied, it's been recognised across thousands of years of human life. For centuries, people have tried to answer a simple question. Why do humans across different times, at different places, seem to move through the same kinds of inner struggles? Now, philosophers explored it, storytellers have encoded it, religions have hinted at it, art, psychology, and modern storytelling all circle the same themes again and again. The same movements appeared: leaving safety, meeting uncertainty, losing direction, being changed by experience and returning with something new, not as a metaphor, but as a pattern. Over decades of study, one body of work emerged from observing this across cultures, belief systems, myths, scripts, and lived human experience. Not to tell people who they are, but to notice what being human seems to involve. What was uncovered wasn't a theory to believe in, it was a recognition of how human lives unfold. This matters more than most people realise because this pattern explains things many of us struggle to put into words. Why progress can feel unsafe, why success can trigger resistance, why growth can feel exciting and threatening at the same time, why old survival habits linger longer after the danger has passed. It explains why your system adopted exactly as it did, not because you were weak, not because you were broken, but because you were intelligent. Once this pattern is recognised in a real human life, it stops being abstract, it becomes personal. I want to share something personal with you. There's a body of work I've returned to many times over the years, and that is true. Recently, I went to Bosnia to see the pyramids. That was this year. I was eight days over there, and there was a lady I went with called Jo, and we sort of got on quite well at one point. And we were together one night, and I said, "Would you like to watch something?" And we watched this, what I'm going to share with you. And again, I put it on. I just started crying again. So hang on a second. I recommend Bosnian pyramids, by the way. Amazing. If you've never heard of them, just look them up. So I want to share something personal with you. There's a body of work I've returned to many times over the years. And every single time I engage with it, it reduces me to tears, which it does. Not because it's emotional, not because it's dramatic, but because there is so much truth in it that my body recognises it before my mind does. Each time, something in me remembers where I've been, what I've faced, why certain moments nearly broke me, and why others changed the course of my life completely. I didn't cry because I understood it. I cried because I didn't cry because I didn't understand it. I cried because I do. I'm sharing this only so you can understand why I'm inviting you to experience this for yourself. Now, I want to be respectful of your time. The body of work represents a lifetime of study and observation. Spending time with it properly takes around 2 hours. For some people, that will feel like a lot, but for others, it will feel like nothing compared to the clarity it brings. So I want to offer you a gentle entry point before you decide whether to go on any further. I invite you to spend just 2.5 minutes with a short introduction to this work. It will give you a feel for what's being explored. It will help you sense whether this resonates, and it will let you decide without pressure whether you want to continue after those few minutes. Something stirs, if something feels curious, if it feels familiar in a way you can't quite explain, then I invite you to spend time with the full work itself. Now, excuse me, I'm burping. This isn't entertainment. This isn't something you need to watch in the usual sense. It isn't about sitting through a film. It's an opportunity to engage with a lifetime of human understanding brought together in one place. 2 hours to understand, which took a lifetime to observe, is not a big ask, but it will always be a choice. You don't need to take it in all at once. You don't need to analyse it. You don't need to agree with everything. Simply notice what resonates, what irritates, and what feels strangely familiar, and what lands in your body rather than your thoughts. That's where the real information is. Nothing changes if you skip this. Nothing is wrong with you if you pause. Nothing about you is broken if you're not ready. But if something inside of you is curious, if a quiet part of you feels drawn, that alone has shifted people's lives. not through effort or fixing, but through recognition, because knowing yourself changes everything. And I think, is it Delphi, the oracle at Delphi says, know thyself. I'm sure it's that. So yeah, know thyself. That's a big one. Once you've spent time with this work, or once something quietly clicks, you may notice more compassion for yourself, less shame about your past, and a deeper understanding of why your life unfolded the way it did. But something else often happens too. Your understanding doesn't just stop with you. You begin to see what other people are not broken, not difficult, not problems to be solved. They are moving through your own lives with their own timing, lessons, detours and thresholds. And that's when you truly see that the urge to fix begins to soften. Advice stops being imposed. Solutions stop being enforced. Judgment loses its grip, not because you're giving up, but because you understand something deeper. No one can walk another person's path for them. Permission appears, permission for you to live your life, permission for others to live theirs, and the space to meet in the middle, to share what might be helpful without trying to control the outcome. From here on, this book changes. It stops from being about fixing yourself and anyone else, and it becomes more about understanding the movement of a human life and understanding how to walk alongside it with clarity, compassion and trust. So then if you go to the book, you'll find the trailer and the actual film, and then we're going to move on. So I would encourage you to actually watch the whole thing, even if you do it in a couple of sittings, but I believe that it's like a documentary, and it is Joseph Campbell. I don't know about Joseph Campbell, but he found something out and he spent his whole life doing it, and he put it in a body of work. And for me personally, it resonates massively with me. The first time I watched it, I cried like a baby because of that truth. I recognised it in me. I recognised why I went through everything I went through, all of it. It all just went like light bulbs. Just as I went through it, it was like ding, 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 all the way through. It was incredible. So I highly, 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 highly recommend that you spend some time with that. And the rest of the book it sort of works alongside that as well. So if you do watch it, the rest of the book, you're going to get a lot more out of the rest of the book. You don't have to watch it, but I would encourage that massively, because again, know thyself is very powerful. So now it goes back to chapter 9. It says, welcome back, heroes. And that might be a clue to what's in the actual film. If you watch the film, take a breath, notice something. You showed up for yourself. You followed your own curiosity. You honoured your own commitments. And that's right here is truly something to be proud of. Not because I say so, but because you can feel it in your chest. That feeling, oh my God. That's your inner hero power waking up at last. And there's a picture of a lady just getting out of bed, and then it turns into a little dragon that's going, yay. So awareness moment, your for future self. If you skipped that it might simply be your thermostat keeping you stuck where you are now. And that's okay, truly. So that's a kind of thermostat hint moment to go back and watch it, maybe. Laugh out loud. Anyway, if you want to feel that more deeply or need to still watch it, here's another chance to watch it. So there's another link there in the book to watch it. And then after that, we're going to carry on. So this is still chapter 9. So the start of our something journey. So that again fits in with what we've just done. So where did we get to? Oh yes, I remember. We weren't failing, we weren't blocked, we weren't broken. We were adaptive, we were loyal to our past, and we were wired to survive, not to succeed. It's our thermostat was only doing its job, but now that we understand it, we can teach it a new job to protect our expansion instead of our limitations, and that's just the beginning of our new life. And then there's a little button with a finger saying start and a little smiley face. And then we're having a song moment. And so then this is the end of the chapter. You were protecting yourself, and now you're gently, bravely, beautifully learning how to protect a new version of ourselves. Again, safety first, a version that feels safe rising, and we're doing that beautifully. You're doing amazing. You've just finished chapter 9. How about we have another celebratory song moment? So in the book, there's another link to another song, and again, that all appears on YouTube, so no links or anything to me. So that's end of chapter 9, and we'll move on to chapter 10.